dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
After a controversial finish at the regular season finale at Talladega last week, we come to the world center of racing and Daytona for round one of the Circle B Diecast Superspeedway Series playoffs. Welcome to Daytona, ladies and gentlemen. Tony Trapasso up in the booth, joined with me by my man, the man in the production truck, the man, the myth, the living legend, my partner in crime tonight, Mr. Jonathan Leach. And John, the only way I can describe what you missed last week is Shades of Richmond 2013.
That sounds a lot like, what was it, Martinsville 2015 as well?
No. That was a receipt given.
Oh, okay. All right.
That was purely a receipt given, but some strategery going on last week, and because of that did allow the 6 of Chris Worrell to get the final transfer spot into the playoffs with the win last week. Current playoff drivers, as we enter tonight, Greg Marconi sitting atop the pile, 20 points to the good over a huge logjam at second with Marcus Adams, Mike Anthony, Zishan Dura, Joe Gottier, James Lowe, Shane Posey, Ted Pullen, Ryan Worley and Chris Worrell, all 20 points back, sitting as a tie for second. And then we've got another logjam for 11th place with Jesse Cottrell, Mark Mcfadden, Bridger Olson, Jason Papp, Brandon Wilson, and Nick Wing. So those are the 16 drivers that are vying for trying to make the next round of the playoffs, and we've only got 2 rounds in this round of 16. Daytona and Talladega, then we're cutting heads after the ARCA race next week at Dega. Then we've got back-to-back rounds at Daytona and Talladega in the Xfinity cars for the round of 12. We're off for Thanksgiving, then we're back at back-to-back truck races at Daytona at night and Talladega during the day for the round of 8, and then we decide the champion at Daytona at night with the Xfinity car. So still a lot of racing left to do here in this season, but you know, there's been quite some issues going on, and league management has been on top of it. I've been assured that you know, the drivers that need to be put on notice have been put on notice, and but right now, qualifying underway, making his return to the league in the 50, a man who actually relinquished his playoff spot, Ben White, sitting atop the pile right now, is Ryan Worley just finishing his lap, going 7th quick. Looks like Bridger Olson on track right now. Is that a John Deere truck? Goes 6th quick.
I'm not showing a John Deere. Oh my goodness. He's going to need a backup car, Tony. I don't know if you caught that. That number 49 right there. That's going to be a backup truck for sure. But 6th quickest, 52.29.
Peak Performance Motorsports. Green and yellow Tundra.
Looks like these guys aren't taking long. They're already jumping onto the grid.
They only give them 5 minutes for qualifying here on the plate tracks. 1 lap, that's all you get. So starting up on the point is going to be non-chase driver Ben White. He's going to be joined with the 99 of James Lowe, who is in the chase. Dan Stein and Marcus Adams make up row number 2, with row 3 going to Brian Tarnowski and Bridger Olson. Mark McFadden and Ryan Worley going to be rolling off in row number 4, with row 5 going to Mike Pullen and Chris Roel.
Row number 6 is going to be Zishan Dura and Jesse. You said Jesse Cottrell. No, correct. Jesse Cottrell's 12th. 13th is Brandon Wilson with Joe Gottier. 14th. Greg McConey. Gottier. Thank you. Greg McConey's 15th. Ted Poland 16th. Shane Posey, and number 83 rolls off the field. 17th. Shane Ward 18th. A little bit further back here, Nicholas Wing, Jason Papp 19th and 20th. Rounding out the field, 21st is going to be GT. Is it Park? Parquet or Park? Park. Thank you, Tony. Sorry, guys. This is my first time with the Circle B Diecast Superspeedway series. I'm filling in for my number 2 man, right-hand man, or left-hand man, however you want to call it, James B. Riles, who's been heading up this show for a while.
Pivot man's more like it.
Pivot man.
But we do need to thank our sponsors tonight, helping bringing you the action. Circle B Diecast, of course, the sponsor of the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series. We also need to thank our league sponsors, Rowdy Energy, Midwest Motor Customs, Butt Kicker, and iRacing iFlag, without whom we could not bring you the action. And, of course, tonight's Red Cat Pull Award going to Ben White in the 50, as just waiting for the last couple of stragglers to grid up. Looks like Zishan Dura is the only one we're waiting on, and he is going to pit start it tonight, as we have 21 trucks here for round 1 of the playoffs. And I do want to point out that Ben White, being scored as the 50, has the 52 on the truck. So this is why we don't let tech officials drink before they hand out the transponders. So 100 laps of scheduled distance here at Daytona. Only a 50% fuel fill, so we're looking somewhere between lap, I would say 15 to 22. We're going to see these guys coming down pit road for a fresh tank and go fast. Probably about halfway before they're going to pit for tires. But one of the things that we have been mindful of since the latest iRacing timing and scoring update is the fact that the trucks get a little bit twitchy when you go to bump draft. They're not as stable as they once were because of the new aero model, and that's something these guys are really going to have to be mindful of. They had to deal with it last week. Hopefully they've got it sorted out this week, as we're not going to be able to go 3 wide quite as easy. Field working its way into the 3-4 complex. White does have to wait until the green flag comes out. That is a rule of the league. All restarts are on the green flag, so nobody really able to get a jump per se. And no changing lanes till the start-finish line. As the field works its way out of turn number 4, the only thing left to do is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, pull the seatbelts tight one more time. Race fans, it's playoff time! White and Lowe in lockstep right now going into turn number 1. White has Ben Stein right with him. Lowe has the teammate in this form of Marcus Adams with him on the high side, trying to make it happen. And then you've got 2 dudes racing drivers behind him. That's Bridger Olson and Ryan Worley. And we've got Brian Tarnowski thrown in the mix just for good measure. So top 6 starting to get a little bit of a breakaway over Chris Worrell and Mike Pullen, as they're starting to get that one sorted out towards the back of this piece. And just as I say that, they're looking to go 3 wide, about 12th back.
So, Tony, tell me something here. Do these guys normally just kind of ride around to start, or are they just pretty much throwing haymakers all night long?
It depends on who's behind the wheel. Some of these guys are just going to ride the first half of the race, make sure they keep the trouble in front of them. Nick Wing, Mark Mcfadden, Ted Pullen, GT Park, Shane Posey, Jason Papp, Joe Gottier, those guys, they kind of hang back because they want to see the trouble coming rather than get run over from it from behind. As you got guys like James Lowe and Ben White, they want to be up front all night long. They do not want to be in the dirty air.
I understand. Okay. Well, something kind of interesting about the trucks is how much dirty air affects them even, and I think we're going to see a lot of drivers just be able to get pretty big runs on like the leader, but then still getting around the leader. It's just different in the trucks as opposed to, the Cup cars that we see normally, and then the Xfinity cars. Those get wild when you come to Superspeedway racing tracks. But the trucks, I think, are a fun time just because they drive a little bit differently, a little less horsepower. Wow, look at this 3 wide right here.
Yeah, it's Bridger Olson trying to make the second or third lane work now. Looks like he's got the, I believe that's Shane Ward going with him. Yes, that does look like Ward in the 39. It is on the high side. As Olson was definitely needed to get cool air to the front of that Toyota Tundra, because he was sucked right up to the back bumper of Tarnowski, Stein for a while.
Wow, let's get it pretty heated up there to the front right here.
Oh, it does all the time. As Ben White, putting the next chapter in his book of how to win friends and influence people, has not made a lot of friends this season in the Circle B Diecast Superspeedway series. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of people that he's kind of ticked off, let's put it that way. As here we go, battle for the lead. Stein working the high side in the the Chevy Silverado. Looks like Matco Tools truck on the high side. And we've got one of the best pushers in the league. That is Bridger Olson, the rookie in the league sense. First season with the Circle B Diecast Superspeedway series. And Bridger has quickly turned into one of the guys that if you know he's on your back bumper, you know you're in safe hands being pushed by him. So Stein and White drag race down the back straightaway. Stein has Tarnowski. Olsen has Wilson. Stein has Olsen as pretty much a logjam up at the front of this piece.
Yeah, none
and
of these
don't look
drivers
now,
are.
but here comes the one of Jason Papp. Taste the rainbow Toyota Tundra tonight. As everybody being it as it is All Hallows Eve weekend, they're running their Halloween paint schemes, and I complained to league management that they could at least provided snacks for us up here in the production truck, because all these candy sponsors on these trucks are starting to make me a little hungry.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's that time of the year, and everybody gets a little bit, the sugar begins, Halloween, Thanksgiving, of course, Christmas, it's that time of the year. And then really, a little bit further past that, your Mardi Gras, things like that. So we're hitting that.
And then you've got Valentine's weekend and Easter not that far away.
Oh, he's going to hang on to it. What a
save of the season. Wow, what a save by Ben White.
That is incredible right there. Just absolutely incredible.
I had a head-on shot with the camera pack that I'm running. I could read both rear quarter panels at some point during that fishtail.
Yeah, that was absolutely wild. Excellent job at you there, hanging on to it. Oh, another car way to the inside there. Must be dropped to the back. Sorry, what an odd stutter. That doesn't happen.
Ryan Worley. The 00.
Roger. Sounds about right.
Worley trying to keep that truck out of clean air. Did finally get the monkey off his back a couple weeks ago, running that exact same paint scheme, rocking the Midwest Motor Custom delivery, thanking one of the league sponsors on that truck tonight. As a lot of the guys that you would expect to see up front, we're seeing up towards the front. Usually likes to be up front. Dan Stein, Jesse Cottrell usually likes to run up there when he can. Usually not one to sit back and just ride. So expect to see him starting to make some moves. And Jason Papp has a plan of action, and it usually works. He has been starting at the not qualifying, which puts him towards the tail end of the field. And these guys give out a bonus point for the biggest mover of the race in the positive direction, which right now would go to the 39 of Ward, as he's up 17 spots.
Well, that's something that I like about Superspeedway racing is when everybody's not taken, it's not too hard to come from the back to the front. You just gotta leave a little bit, wait. Some people back off a little more, slide right into the hole that gets made, and you can do that all the way to the front fairly simply, and it's not too difficult, and especially when in the trucks. But when everybody gets to that stage with 6-5 to go, that's going to be out the window. That's when we're going to start seeing incidents and people pushing people out of the way, taking gaps that aren't really there. But right now, we're not really there as of yet.
No, we're far from it. And with this being a 100-lap race, only a 50% fuel fill, we're looking. I would dare say they could do this in 4 stops if they time it right. Probably looking at about a 5-stop race, though. Because they're going to put somewhere between 15 and 20. Then the next 15 or 20 laps after that, the next 15 or 20 after that. And then they're going to have to come down for a splash and go towards the end of this piece. As looks like they are coming up very quickly on Zishan Dura, who decided to pit start not knowing what was going to happen going into turn 1. Is we're 3 wide for 4th.
Yeah, that's definitely not how they're going to want to catch the lapped car of Zishan Dura right here, 3 wide. Might as well be 3 wide. They're still taking up 3 lanes. Now they got to take it out to 2. I'm going to assume that Zishan's going to hang to the high side right here.
League rule.
Oh, is it? Okay.
That is a league rule that when you've got the pack bearing down on you and you're off pace like Dura is, you're looking at about 15, 16 mile an hour difference. Now up to almost 20 mile an hour difference. You have to stay to the high side and give the preferred lines to the guys that are at speed. Once you tag into that group, though, you're welcome to race as hard as you choose.
Looks like he's going to see this works right here. He's got the 2 cars, 4 deep up front to help him grab the draft. And now he's got the cars to his left side right there that are also going to kind of keep him from losing it. So he's in a good spot here, you know. I mean, unfortunately he's a lap down, but I don't think he's going to be at risk of losing the draft. And he's only the only car 1 lap down. So all he needs to do is stay out of incidents in the first contact.
Absolutely. And as we are starting the playoffs, this is round 1 of the round of 16. I would like to point out that defending series champion Connor Trafari is not in the playoffs this season, electing to focus on his schoolwork, being as he is still a 16-year-old high school student. But one hell of a race driver, and we do miss having him on the track. His big move for Cottrell going down. No, that was White going down to the low line, jumping in front of Tarnowski.
You know, I want to mention something about Connor.
Go ahead.
You know, that's probably a good move because aside, I didn't even know he was in this series, but I did know he was in like 5 other series that I've been a part of, which tells me this kid races every single night, which is insane. I don't think I can pull that off. Maybe I could at 16, but no offense to Connor because he is an excellent race car driver. So I respect that, you know, to kind of back off and be like, hey, I need to focus more on my IRL side of the house.
Right.
That's a great move and always fun to watch. I'm not really a fan of racing against him because he races really, really hard, and I'm not willing to race as hard as he is. But he's always fun to see out on the track because he's going to put that car in places nobody else would.
Well, the thing is, you know, I grew up in a time before the Red Bulls and before the Monsters or Rock Stars or whatever, or Rowdy Energy. You know, I grew up in the days of the original energy drink, Jolt Cola. And I think it probably would have taken me an entire bottle of Vibrin and 2 1-liters of Jolt to do as much racing during the week and not die as Connor does on a regular basis. So hats off to him. And we've got a lot of other guys in different leagues that run just about every night of the week. Another one is Mark Mcfadden. I mean, that guy runs 4 or 5 nights a week here in the iRacing Simulator. And at 73 years old, just won a track championship up at his home track in Canada. You know, that's nothing short of amazing to me. Is Bridger Olson showing the way right now? Dan Stein giving him a good shove from behind. Olson was helping Stein earlier, now repaying the favor. As Shane Ward, and here it comes, 15 laps in, they're starting to get single file. They're getting ready to go for green flag pit stops here within the next couple of laps.
Yeah, we can't be too far away from those at the current moment here. Big push right there from the 87 to the 49, and really more of an air push right there. But, you know, that's a cool feature that iRacing has been getting much better at, is just the aero push on the good side and the bad and the good side and the bad sides. Here comes part of the pack, 3 cars, 4 cars, 5, 6 from the back. All right, so we got Bridger Olson, Daniel Stein, Benjamin White, Shane Ward. Let's see, who else here?
Oh, that's not good. White just crashed going on the pit road, and I can't see who the other car is. That's the 39 of Shane Ward. Those 2 guys getting into each other, getting onto pit road.
I'm gonna try to grab that here real quick.
Oi! Oh, that just made a long night longer. As looks like fuel only for everybody that came down pit road except for White and Ward. Ward anyways, taking fuel only. White going to have to do a little bit of damage repair on the number 52. As here comes a ton of the rest of the crew. Nick Wing, Mike Poland, Brian Tarnowski, Ted Poland, father and son, by the way. And I believe it's Ted that's in the round of 16. Cookie, help me out here. Yes, Ted's in the round of 16, and of course their mom Cookie watching. As Shane Posey dropping some hints that the nerds are out for blood tonight. That's, of course, Shane Posey and Joe Gottier, as we saw them come through the first group that came down pit side. As here comes Olsen and company, who've already done their pit stops. We're waiting on Jason Papp, and here comes the rest of the wholesale. So effective race lead going to be Bridger Olsen in the 49. Is everybody else trying to get up to speed? The only problem is Olsen has zero drafting help right now. But here comes Stein, Posey and Gottier with a head of steam, though, reeling him in hand over fist. Won't be too much longer before they do catch him.
The good news here for him, though, Tony, is this isn't a big pack behind him. It's 3 cars. Looks like one's going to back up here to help pick him up. Yeah, he's going to be just fine right here. He may not even lose the lead here.
Well, it's not lose the lead. It's can he gain the lead as Adams went in the battle off pit road for the final group. Adams, Pat, Worrell, Marconi, Worley, Cottrell, Wilson, and here comes Gottier and Posey with a head of steam. This is about to get interesting as they are quickly approaching those guys that are just coming out the pit road right now, trying to get up to speed, about 10-mile-an-hour difference. There comes Worley as he's trailing his teammate Greg Marconi by a little bit. But, this group that came in first of Posey, Gottier, Olsen, and Stein making it happen, but in front of them, Marcus Adams, Chris Worrell, and Jason Papp. As you can see, that is your low line. High line trying to make something happen, again, with the head of steam. So going to be a drag race down the super stretch as we are working lap 19 of 100.
Yeah, 20 laps going away fairly quick for a big track. I mean, that's what happens. These super speedway races can go really, really quickly as long as everybody stays, for the most part, clean and we don't see a bunch of cautions. And we're seeing that right now. And really, it's a pretty good pack we've got going right here. I would go ahead and be willing to guess that the guys on the high side are just kind of testing out to see what the high side is going to do for later in the race. Fortunately, Daytona's got some pretty good banking here in the corner, so if you're willing to stay down and get right on that door in the inside lane right there, you see the 6 and the 83 get real close to each other right there. The inside lane doesn't have as much of an advantage over the high lane as per se like Talladega or even the iRacing Superspeedway racetrack. Because of the banking here, you can really keep a good run on the high side. But it's still, though, when you don't have the same amount of cars as the inside lane, you're going to struggle a bit. And these guys obviously know how to Superspeedway race, being it as the Circle B Diecast Superspeedway series. So I look forward to seeing how this develops as this race goes on.
Well, they do this every week, and those of you who've been with us week in and week out know that the Toyota Tundra of Shane Posey and that Chevy Silverado Gravedigger of his teammate Joe Gottier are no scaredy cats as far as it goes to running that second lane. As 31 peeling off, obviously not happy with what he's seeing up there in the front. As Worrell getting a good shove from Jason Papp right now, as these guys picking them up and laying them down. We're already getting ready to put 21 in the books as they work their way out of turn number 4. Worrell, Papp, Marconi, Posey, Gottier, Worley, Olsen, Ted Pullen, Dan Stein, and James Lowe rounding out your top 10 currently. Throw a blanket over your top 13, though.
Yeah, these guys really, really close together, and basically that's what you'll say. Those top 13, those are the guys that got in and off pit road well. The other guys, you know, getting back here to GT Park, Mark Mcfadden, some of these guys, they either A, didn't get off pit road as well, or this is by design to be this far back. But I find that hard to believe when I'm looking at the number 5 car that's damaged. I'm looking at the number 58 car that has damage. And number 90 right here, he's got some damage. All these cars in this little second pack right here, they all have a little bit of damage. whether some of that be from pit road incidents or just out on track.
Worley had to take evasive actions to jump up to that second lane as he got a bad shove from Ted Pullen in the Reese's 85. Unfortunately, it's never a good idea to push the pusher, and that's exactly what happened there. Jason Papp going to drop to the back of this front pack as he's now gotten his bonus point for leading a lap. Worley getting a great shove right now as Posey locked to his tailgate.
You know, Tony, I'm going to ask you a question. You're a Superspeedway driver. Let's assume you are.
Former Superspeedway driver. I did in the league.
Where would you rather be? Up front or in the back? Let's say front
on what part
two
of the
rows.
race we're talking about.
Whole race. What's your plan? What do you want to do? I want to
be inside row leading it as for as long as I can.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of mixed feelings there. At times, I feel like being leader inside row. I'll hold that yellow line pretty well. Other times, depending the mood of the race and how things are going, I want to go ahead and drop back and not take any risk because I just kind of know what's going to happen. But I don't want to be in that second pack that's 10 seconds back. You know, I want to be at the end of the first pack.
Right.
Because you never know. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, stuff could pop off, and you know, let's face it, the iRacing algorithm for the spotter pack, it's not the most reliable.
No, none of
it's good, but it's not the most reliable thing I've ever seen.
No, they're not excellent by any means. They're good enough, but they're not excellent. But I don't want to be in that backpack because it's also possible you don't see a caution when you need it, and then you basically just ruined any chance of a good finish. Because the second pack, you're normally at least 15th on back in average size fields at Superspeedway races. Typically you have large fields for Superspeedway races because everybody can win. It takes a little bit of skill out of it, per se. But yeah, I want to be where, let's say Jesse Cottrell is in number 88. Right there. He has the draft. He's not going to lose the draft where he's at. If something happens with the leaders, he should be able to get hard on the brakes and avoid it.
Well, the biggest thing is I want to be around people I know I can trust. You know, for example, you take a look at that inside lane. You got Greg Marconi for Dudes Racing, Ted Pullens for DNA Motorsports. Then you got Ryan Worley for Dudes Racing. Brandon Wilson for Dudes Racing, and Bridger Olson for Dudes Racing. Ted Pullen has proven this season, same as Bridger Olson, that you can trust when they're on your tailgate that you're in safe hands. The same can't be said for other drivers in the league, and those of you who've been watching throughout the season know exactly who I'm talking about. As looks like Ben White and Shane Ward getting ready to go a lap down here as the field reeling them in hand over fist. A lot of damage on both those trucks after that issue they had trying to get onto pit road during that first round of green flag pit stops. And this might not work out so well for Gottier and Posey. Everybody playing nicely, though, staying out of the way. They're going to drop back down, pick up the draft, and not continue to hemorrhage time. It looks like Nick Wing and Brian Tarnowski got into it somewhere. Both those guys just pit farmed those cars, spending over a minute in their pit boxes. Wing spending a minute 40 in his box as he's now just coming out of pit road. So, but you know, let's talk about the new aero model that iRacing has rolled out. And I say new aero model, it's been out a couple of months now. But this truck used to be so stable, you could just put a brick on the accelerator pedal and not have to worry about what's in front of you. Now, not so much. These trucks do get real kind of twitchy in the side draft. You know, you really have to be mindful of who you're pushing and how you're pushing, because as we saw when this new aero model first came out, What you could get away with the week prior, you couldn't get away with anymore.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, I mean, every update things are getting a little better. Sometimes they have to pull back a little bit because some things are a bit twitchy. But I've been thoroughly impressed with the changes and the direction that iRacing has been going into. Thankful to all the new drivers, because if it wasn't for them, they wouldn't be there yet. But since we got the influx of thousands of drivers, that puts more money into the iRacing pocket, and it makes iRacing better.
That's about the only good thing that has happened since the COOF has come out, is we've gotten an influx of people into the iRacing servers that might never have actually joined. Is currently taking a look at the front of this field, Shane Posey, he's up 16 spots from where he started this thing. Go ahead and tell me with a straight face qualifying matters at a plate track.
Not really. But I mentioned that earlier. When it's early on in the race and it's not a lot of taking, things are significantly easier to get from the back to the front. And it's still risky, but it's a lot easier, and it's probably a better time to make that attempt to try to get up there. And if you can stay there, great.
Well, I dare say that the drivers are going to get ready to take their next round of green flag pit stops here in the next couple of laps, as they are starting to get single file yet again, and that's usually the tattletale here on the plate tracks. When you see drivers get single file, they're coming pit side because they're running very low on go fast.
Yeah, we ought to be getting fairly close. Shane Posey was last down pit road on lap 15. In fact, we might just see everybody turn left, basically coming down the line this time. Try to keep an eye on everybody. Go ahead and remove the tower so you get a good view here of the left side. In fact, I'm going to assume that perhaps the leader will. We happen to have a GoPro, as you call it, on Shane Posey's helmet. Let's see what he does here. He's coming, he's in turn 3, coming out of the 4s. Let's see if he gets hard on the brakes and turns down. Yes, he does. Blow the other line. Hard on the brakes, no throttle. Downshifting. Gets on pit road cleanly. Ted Poland and Joe Gottier are with them. The rest of the field, led by Greg McConey, oddly enough, does not come down with them. So different strategy for the rest of the field. That's going to be the 3 cars right here. Brought in Michael Poland, Benjamin White as well, but they're going to be a little bit too far behind to be beneficial to the first 3 drivers on pit road.
Well, yes and no. Ted Poland actually had a 10-second stop, so it looks like he took 2 tires. Mike Poland took fuel. Oh, no, he's in his box now, so we're going to see what he's doing. As Ben White and Shane Ward, who were a lap down, hustled in there as Mike Poland trying to do what he can to try to stay with his boy. Unfortunately, he's going to kind of lose out here, as Olsen and Stein are the only 2 to peel off this time. But that's to be expected, as the last time the rest of the guys were down were 2 laps before that first group decided to go in. So expect to see wholesale pit stops as that time by. As there goes Park and Mcfadden. Stein, Olsen, Park, and Mcfadden all in now. Olsen, the first one down and away. Again, fuel only for him and Stein. But up at the front, it's Dudes Racing 1, 2, 3 with Marconi, Worley, and Wilson. Actually, Dudes Racing 1, 2, 3, and 4. As a little bit off those guys is Jason Papp. Papp stays out with Worrell, Lowe, Adams, and Cottrell, though. As... Come on, stop moving. 2 Fords and a Chevy. Oh, Wilson blew through his pit stop.
That's going to be a costly mistake for sure. Back to the lead, still waiting for the top 5, currently led by Jason Papp. These drivers all came down lap 17, so that's Jason Papp, Chris Worrell, James Lowe, Marcus Adams, and Jesse Cottrell. I expect they're going to come down this time by...
Safe bet.
Yes, here they come. No, yes, here they all come. See, this is where I get nervous, is when they fan out like that coming to pit lane, and they all have to come back together. In fact, that's how we got that first incident, the first green flag cycle between, God, correct me if I was wrong, it was, who was that involved there?
White and Ward.
White, okay, thank you. I knew it was a W, and I just couldn't quite remember.
Oy.
That was what caused that issue, the compression of coming to pit road.
Well, if you're doing that, you want to do exactly what Jason Papp did, and that's get to the concrete. Because once you get into the concrete, your car goes phantom and nobody can hit you at that point. So he did the right thing, seeing what was going on around him. Great spatial awareness for the driver of the 11. And I know that's going to make Mom proud, as I believe she is watching with us tonight. How you doing, ma'am? Pleasure to have you with us. Speaking of moms watching, Ted Poland's mom, Cookie, is in the live chat joining us. But right now, Greg Marconi showing the way. He's got Worley with him, so two cars working together. Four dudes racing, running 1-2. Then you've got a little bit of a gap back to the two balls out racing drivers of Worrell and Adams. Jesse Cottrell trying to tag on to the tail end of that bunch, as that's an angry pack of Hornets bearing down on Jesse Cottrell. I would hate to see that in my rearview mirror if I was him.
Well, that's just a fact of how plate racing works sometimes. Wrong place, wrong time, and just got to hang on to it when the pack comes by. But, these guys are impressing me a bit. They're doing a pretty good job right now, especially when they're going by lapped cars. You don't see too many people struggling to hold a line. But again, they're here every single Friday. And that just, it says a lot. It's really kind of cool. I mean, if I didn't dislike Superspeedway racing, this is something I would be interested in getting into. But I don't have a very good record for Superspeedway racing. I either finish in the top 5 or I don't make it. That's just kind of how it goes. Yeah. So I tend to not like it as much. I like my 1.5-mile tracks than short tracks.
Here's the trick to this league. They run different cars every week. They rotate the car. And it's only during the playoffs that we're really seeing, back-to-back races with different cars. We've run the truck, we've run the Xfinity, we've run the ARCA car. They rotate between those three rides. And a little birdie has told me that there's a 90% chance that next season they're going to be adding one of the 3 Indy cars to the mix. So Indy cars at Talladega, I like that.
That sounds absolutely insane.
It's terrifying the first time you do it, because I remember the first time when I was joining the Indy Speedway League that I was running with, it was a buddy of mine from college. He goes, "Hey, hold the wheel straight." What? And I glanced down at the speedometer that iRacing gives you as they flash by Mike Pullen, as he's going to be able to tag on to the tail end of this group. But I glanced down at the speedometer that iRacing gives you, and we're doing 145 miles an hour going into turn 3 at Talladega.
That is absolutely insane.
Yes, you can bump draft in an Indy car.
I don't want to do that. That does not sound safe. Not one bit, no, sir.
It's even more fun when iRacing first came out with the option for hosted races to be able to remove the restrictor plate off of the car tomorrow.
Oh, really?
And you put that on track with the DW12. And you gear the DW12 as high as it'll go, and you get a car tomorrow to push it. You will hand grenade the engine in 2 laps or less in the Indy car being pushed by a COT.
So
I think we pop. I think I popped an engine 3 wide going into 3 at 260 miles an hour.
Yeah, that car tomorrow, the hot car, that was just an insane car, and I think half the reason it's gone was just because it was too fast.
Here we go. That was White and Ward getting into it on the back straightaway. It looks like Posey caught a piece of it. Cottrell caught a piece of it. Mike Pullen made it through, but White and Ward.
And no caution.
Surprisingly, no caution. Well, they did spin down to the infield, but yeah, Cottrell, Posey, Ward all catching big pieces of that one. Looks like GT Park got involved in it. Dan Stein caught a huge piece of it, and everybody else taking evasive action around them. Japers. That could have ended more poorly than it did.
It really could have. Yeah, it just seems like a little wiggle up there from the front, really. That pretty much caused all of that to happen.
2 lap cars.
That's what I know. That's what I'm watching right here.
Yeah, that got caused by 2 lap cars deciding to dick around.
I'm putting it's on screen right here. Oh, wow. Yeah, this could have been much worse than it was, but really taking out a bunch of top cars right there. Now we've got ourselves a really oddly spread out field. The top 3 are under a blanket. Then you got to go about 2 seconds back and you get 4 drivers, and then 5 seconds back from them for another 4, and then 12th on back is 20 seconds off the lead at this point.
Right, and I mean, it was uncalled for.
Well,
and I mean, it just unbelievable.
Well, life gives us lemons. We got to make lemonade, or we got to roll with it. And these drivers up front, these 3 are rolling with it. Now that pack that was a little bit behind them, they're catching the 3 leaders in a hurry. Obviously, they're drafting each other, and they've got the draft from the 3 leaders. So that's going to go ahead and get us 7 cars back here for our front pack. That's enough to see some 2-wide racing, Tony, and that's enough for more fireworks later on in the race.
Absolutely. But I want to correct you there. When life gives you lemons, you need to find the person who life gave potatoes to. And you make your lemonade, and you help them make potato vodka.
Potato vodka.
And then you make screwdrivers, and then you have a good time. And speaking of potato vodka, we are playing the at-home drinking game on Monday night as the Rowdy Energy Cup Series goes to Martinsville, and we're cutting heads to bring it down to the round of 4, the championship round at Phoenix next week. Not this coming week, the following week. So who is going to make it into that final cut, as there is a bounty on the line. Any driver who's not in the chase who can win at Martinsville without taking out a chase contender will pocket $25 cash. So you may be out of the points running, but you're still not out of the money, as that is Ted Pullen and Joe Gottier, both of whom caught a piece of that accident, back up with this lead pack. So Gottier back in contention, getting back with his Nerditude's co-pilot of Shane Posey. So some good news there, as, yeah, throw a blanket over your top 7, and then you're 6.5 seconds back to that second pack led by Jason Papp.
Yeah, you know, and I guess I kind of say I sort of expected that we were going to get spread out in a race like this. I mean, I didn't expect it was to get spread out by lack of what, in my opinion, probably should have ended up being a caution, but it didn't happen. Obviously, they spun off into the infield, all the cars got going and or towed, and now we've got ourselves a quite spread out field. The second group of cars is led by Jason Papp, who was up front not too terribly long ago. That's only 4 of them, and they're losing a little bit of time to the leaders. Not much, but maybe a tenth or so a lap, maybe 2/10. They're doing a great job here being lined up, but it's just a smaller pack versus a larger pack. And almost no matter what they do, they're going to struggle here.
Absolutely, but I can tell you one person that's real happy right now would be the mama bear of the number 85. That is Ted Pullen driving the Reese's Chevy Silverado tonight. Cookie Pullen in the chat, pulling for her boy. We know that's a fact. We know the Nerditudes guys are kind of half listening to the crap we're talking about. But not the night Mike was hoping for, but definitely still has one of her boys in contention. So, Cookie, start saying the novenas now. As Greg Marconi continues to show the way, he's got his teammate Ryan Worley right there with him. As we are quickly approaching the halfway mark. And next round of green flag pit stops happen, and that's Posey and Gottier peeling off first. And while they are doing that, what do you say we step away and pay some bills, John?
I was just about thinking the same thing. Tony and I will be back here in a couple moments after a word from Red Cat. Some really great RC machines. Check them out. There's a link in the description.
And that was a good word from our good friends over at Red Cat. As most of the green flag pit stops have happened, the only ones we're waiting on right now is this lead pack of Pap, Adams, Worrell, Lowe, currently circulating as they are finally bringing it down pit side. And again, I like the strategy that Jason Papp is using in the one. He knows that those guys from Balls Out are going to, fan out going into pit road when it goes back into the funnel. and he's trying to get to the concrete as quickly as he can. Looks like left sides for Pap this time. Left sides in fuel as Nick Wing coming pit side as well. That should hand the effective race lead back over to Ryan Worley, as he's got Bridger Olson, Ted Pullen, Greg Marconi, and Brandon Wilson in tow.
I wanted to see it, Tony, if this is going to kind of tighten our field back up a little bit after these green flag stops. Maybe a couple mistakes, a couple real fuel onlys, or maybe people not even taking a full tank of fuel, trying to give themselves an opportunity to get caught back up to the field. I wouldn't expect that to be the case, but you never know. And right now, this is our most likely moment for any kind of carnage and or cautions happening because the field's kind of passing slower cars, faster cars going around, a lot of movement, things like that.
Well, this is the only time that, the faster cars are not expecting the slower cars to get to the high side, and that's coming off the pit road. You want them to just be predictable. That's the biggest thing that they preach in this league to the newcomers. Don't care what you do, just be predictable. And if you're running solo and off the pace, stay to the high side. As Shane Posey just set quick time of the event with a 47.62. Good grief, Shane. Leave some on the table for the rest of the children.
That's a really
like Ben
fast
White
lap
just put it on the hauler. Yeah, that's flying in a truck. I mean, that's cup speed right there.
These guys are rolling, absolutely. That's the talent, I guess, or I should say, all the time and tool. They're here all the time. These guys have plenty of time to practice. Tony, if I need to get better at Superspeedway racing, I just need to jump in with these guys for a season, something like that. I might be a little bit better then. I actually think I'm a decent Superspeedway racer. I just don't like it. But that's just gotta. These guys hold their lines so well. Oh, except for right there, just as I said at the 67. Real loose right there, Joe Gottier, and manages to kind of hang on to it. Then you got,
he caught the apron there trying to jump down in front of Ryan Worley as Posey, Gottier, Worley, Olson, Pullen, Marconi, Wilson, Worrell, Adams, Pap, and Lowe. Throw a blanket over your top 11 right now as GT Bark and Jesse Cottrell, both of whom caught a piece of that last incident about 25 seconds back.
Oh, wow.
Mark McFadden, the lone Canadian, currently being scored the last truck on the lead lap in 14th, in danger of going a lap down, as he is just now coming out of turn 2 as these guys are heading into turn 1.
The pack's much faster than him each and every lap. I do want to mention that up front, 67, he's got some right rear damage on that machine. In fact, I think he's going to, for the most part, just have to stay in the draft here. If he gets hung out, he's a goner. If you take a look at this machine coming by right here, it's got quite a bit of damage on the right rear. Looks like the spoiler's pushed up. Actually, it's crinkled down just a little bit, which, I mean, it might help him, but I really doubt it, especially at the speeds that we're seeing.
He got caught up in that fracas between Ward, Stein, and White as well. So, he caught a big piece of that one. How he was able to get back up there as quickly as he was is only by the grace of Ted Pullen pushing the daylights out of him. Just past the halfway mark, though, and Nerditudes 1-2 right now. Dudes Racing 3 and 4. DNA Motorsports running in the top 5 with Ted Pullen. And then you've got 2 more Dudes Racing, then a whole fracas of Balls Out Racing, split up only by the ace of Jason Papp running for Dudes Racing. So your top 11, pretty diverse right now, is they do have the 66 of Brian Tarnowski, I believe one of the independents in the league, right there at the tail end. Tarnowski did go a lap down after getting into some wall scraping earlier. As looks like that is Mike Pullen, and I believe that's Zishan Dura. Yes. That's Pullen and Dura that they are coming up to put another lap on. So field kind of getting a little sorted out right now.
Well,
Everybody playing nice so far.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I expected. I figured that round of green flag pit stops, just for some feeling that I had, was going to allow most of these drivers to kind of get back together. At least, it's instead of 7 in the lead group, now it's 11. Opportunity for the next round of, I'm going to say it's probably going to be these 11. GT Park and Jesse Cottrell, those two guys are 26 seconds back and losing time rather quickly to the leaders, by a couple tenths of a second a lap. I think they're going to have their work cut out for them without any type of caution as we continue on for this thing. But Tony, right now, our pit stops ended a few moments ago. We just talked about that. We're going to take a moment as we're coming to lap 59. We're going to turn it up for our fans and drivers and viewers and everyone who's going to come back to it. We're going to take a moment away, turn the sound up, enjoy the shots.
And we are back with live action, working lap 65 of 100. Green flag pit stops already underway. We've seen Shane Posey and Joe Gottier peel off. Jesse Cottrell and Z. Sandura in pits there. As looks like everybody else starting to get single file. We should see, here we go, Ted Poland starting to peel off. And looks, yikes, that could have ended poorly as Mike charges the line to try to get up there to help his boy. But that hands the lead of the race over to Bridger Olson. Ryan Worley sitting in second, Greg Marconi in third. The lap truck of Mark McFadden was up there for a moment. I don't see where he went. But again, Sally, thank you for pointing that out to me. I was being stupid and forgot that Mark was. I was looking for a blue truck. Mark was rocking the breast cancer awareness pink tonight, as is Brandon Wilson in the 501. As all the dudes guys peeling off here, charging the line. Oy, that looked close. So Olson, Marconi, Worley, and Wilson all go in pit to try to stay with each other. Four trucks working well together. As this just in, Ben White, Dan Stein, GT Park, all have put it on the hauler tonight. It's only 3 retirements. We have 18 trucks still circulating this piece right now. As looks like everybody down and away without much issue from the dudes camp. Chris Worrell inherits the lead now, as he's leading that pack of Chris Worrell, Marcus Adams, Jason Papp, and James Lowe, as they stay out yet again. And
so I'm going to say from here, slightly change the subject, honest. They can make this from one more stop. However, I think they have to stretch either this fuel run or the next fuel run.
Both.
Because, well, I'm thinking about 17 laps between each. So coming to 69, so we're looking at, 82-ish?
Right. But they're gonna. But the thing is, this league does go green-white checker. And it has gone green-white checker a lot this season. As a matter of fact, I believe the first 5 races we went green-white checker. But then again, we've also seen them go flag to flag, caution free. So, that's always a possibility as well. But they're really going to have to stretch this, and you kind of got a feel for Jason Papp right now, because he's in enemy territory as the lone dudes racing driver, getting caught up with the trio from Balls Out Motorsports. And I'm thinking part of that might be so we can keep an eye on those guys, make sure there's no shenaniganry going on. As here we go again, those guys charging the line. That should hand the effective race lead over to, yep, that is Gottier up there leading the pack of Posey, Olson, Marconi, Worley, Wilson, and then you've got about a 6-second gap back to Ted Poland. Right now, 12 trucks being scored on the lead lap. Jesse Cottrell in the 88, the last truck being scored as such, as they come up to put the 39 of Shane Ward another lap down, and I believe that's Nick Wing. Yes, it is, in the GM Goodwrench 90 up there as well. Wing having the win stolen from him last week, with the, again, shenaniganry that was going on with the Balls Out Racing guys. So right now, Worrell leading that little group, as here comes the other pack with a head of steam. About a 20-mile-an-hour difference, so this shouldn't take too much effort. Olson dropping down to pick up Papp, saying, "Hey, bud, I'm here if you need me." But the two Nerditudes drivers getting in between the Dudes Racing crew now jump out to the second lane, head of steam as Posey's got to be careful because he's pushing the daylights out of Gottier right now, and he's got to keep an eye on that those temperature gauges because it's very easily going to be able to twist an engine here if he pushes for too long without getting any clean air to that radiator.
Right. So, Tony, if you were going to pick right now, it's coming to 72, and I gave you 2 people to pick to win, since I don't know, since I haven't been to this league, who would you pick? You get 1 for you and 1 for me.
Pace car driver. Oh, you mean legitimately?
Yeah. I see what you said. I got it.
Anybody that's left on the lead lap still has a shot at it. Although some of those shots are dwindling, but I would dare say it's still heads up for anybody in the top 10 right now at this second because they're running stem to stern from Gottier back to Wilson. Yeah, any one of those 10 guys is fair game.
That's true, but I'm still asking you to pick. Maybe you'll be right. You got, what, a 1 in 10 chance here?
I'll be straight with you. I would love to see Jason Papp finally get the monkey off his back this season.
Has he been having
sentimental choice? It's going with Papp.
Okay, we're going to see what happens. He's currently scored 6th in a Toyota, so as they run a Chevy, Toyota, Yoda, Chevy, Yoda, Ford,
He's in a Yoda tonight?
Chevy.
Oh crap.
That's what I'm seeing.
I just noticed that. Normally he's running a Chevy.
I like the Tundra. That's what I don't know why I've driven the Chevy and the Ford and I like the Toyota. I'm not sure why. That's just what I seem to lean towards more. Obvious, which is kind of weird, but I just like the look of them, I guess is what I would say.
Well, I mean, there used to be a time where what brand of truck you had mattered. But since they finally gave us the Ford, excuse me, since they finally gave us the Ford and the latest aero package, they kind of evened the aero model out. And the, excuse me, the performance model is almost identical to all 3 makes. But yeah, I mean, I get you. I mean, as a matter of fact, I came into the session with the Toyota that I had painted up for the brand that I was actually using in radio control tractor pulling back when I last raced competitively in the trucks. Which, being as we have our new friends over at Red Cat, I won't mention which brand that was at the time, but this was before I knew of Red Cat's existence, which reminds me I need to paint a new truck. But anyways, yeah, I mean, I'll put it back on you. Who's your pick?
You know, from what I've been seeing, I really kind of like the 12. I kind of like McConey. He's stayed away from trouble, mostly. He's just, in my opinion, he's running smart. He's scored an 8th right now, but you know, the moment this goes double file, that might be a bit 4th, you know, from the front. So I like McConey. I mean, this is just really a random little guess, like you said, because any of the front 10 here have a shot at it. But I'm going to go with McConey. I'm going to stick to that.
Fair enough. But if I had to pick a second one, you know, it's going to be another one that I'd like to see get the monkey off his back this season. And that's the 501 of Brandon Wilson. You know, Papp and Wilson put in so much time and effort into bringing you the Circle B Diecast Superspeedway Series, into giving you the Rowdy Energy Cup Series on Monday nights. You know, and all the legwork that they do behind the scenes that nobody really gets to see. those guys put in so much work that it's, as you can attest to running a broadcast company, running a league is almost a second full-time job on top of what you do to pay your bills in your house. But these guys don't get paid for this. All the money that comes into the league goes back out to the broadcast companies and the points fund. That's where all the sponsorship dollars go that they have brought in. So that $25 bounty, that's coming out of Brandon Wilson and Jason Papp's pockets if somebody were to claim it next week at Martinsville or the following week at Phoenix for the season finale of the Monday night Rowdy Energy Cup Series. So, don't get it twisted. I mean, these guys put in work. So I would love to see that hard work rewarded on track with a good performance.
Well, we're certainly going to find out. As these guys, they're still single file, and I bet we're going to see single file to about 7 to go, Tony. I'm making another guess right here. 7 to go, I think, is when we're going to start seeing drivers make some moves. And every time I say between 6 and 7 laps, they always surprise me, and it's really like 2 to go. But I think you got to go sooner than that.
With this series, you're going to see it after the money stop. As they're coming out of the pits on the money stop, you're going to see the gloves come off, and you're going to see the Chuck Liddell haymakers being thrown.
Well, and that money stop is going to be coming here in the next about, I'm going to say 3 to 5 laps, depending when you pit it. So Gottier and Posey...
You're going to need to make it 5 if you want to make it to the finish.
I don't know if Gottier and Posey can do that. They were last on the road lap 63.
Yeah,
now,
they're going to be cutting it short.
Now, Chris Worrell, so 3rd through 6th, which was Chris Worrell, Marcus Adams, James Lowe, and Jason Papp. They last pitted on lap 69. They can for surely make it that next 5 laps. I'm going to say those guys are going to be good to go no matter what. I'm a little concerned about Gottier and Posey here having pitted on lap 63.
Here we go. Here we go. They're coming pit side now. So that answers that question.
21 laps. I feel like that's going to be a tough.
They're not going to be able to make it and be able to run up front. There's no way. Not with a 50% fuel fill on the tank. So that hands the lead of the race over to the 6 of Worrell. He's got his teammate Marcus Adams and his other teammate James Lowe right there in tow. Jason Papp right on the tailgate of Lowe as he has 4 of his teammates behind him in the form of Bridger Olson, Greg Marconi, Ryan Worley, and Brandon Wilson. So now it's a cat and mouse game at 190 miles an hour. What do you do? Who are you going with? Let us know in the chat, and if you haven't done so already, don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, share, turn on bell notifications so you don't miss a single moment of action during the week as we do this just about every night of the week here on the ESPN side of things. Coming up, this is the last race this week. As we are not going to have the E-Formula Series tomorrow. So next race you're going to see us on ESPN is going to be the Rowdy Energy Cup Series on Monday night. That is scheduled to roll off from Martinsville, and we are cutting heads at Martinsville in their playoffs. So we're going to whittle it down to 4 at the end of that piece. That rolls off at 8:20 Eastern. Excuse me. Tuesday night, we've got the triple header going on there, as it's going to be the UK Sim Racing MX5 Pro Series, Week 8 from Twin Ring Motegi. That is a 3:50 p.m. Eastern Time start for that one. And then we have the Rick Mattek Truck Series, round number 3. They will be rolling off at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And then the nightcap, the Western States Racing League season number 46, that rolls off at 10:05 Eastern Time. Tuesday night, we do have an off night for the Sim Racers Edge, so I will be joining the booth with Angel for the Pony Express Sim Racing Endurance for Amateurs. Round number 8 from Cirque du Stars, Le Mans Circuit. That is scheduled to roll off at 9:25 Eastern Time. Excuse me. And then we are back with the DOB Dirt Night as the sprint cars go to Lakeland, Florida, and I just lost picture. That is scheduled to roll off at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and then we'll be back next week for round number 2, the final round of 16 at Talladega in the trucks for the Circle B Diecast Superspeedway Series. Working lap 34, it looks like all these guys are going to try to make it on one more stop. Marcus Adams showing the way, James Lowe, Jason Papp, Bridger Olson, Greg Marconi, Ryan Worley, Brandon Wilson, Chris Worrell has dropped to the tail end of this lead group, as they also have Brian Tarnowski there with them in a heavily damaged number 66. So 99 Lowe looking to take over from Adams to the lead. Wondering who's going to be blinking first here, as looks like the Dudes Racing guy is going to be the first ones to go down pit road. That leaves a huge gap back to the 6 of Chris Worrell. So Lowe, Adams, Papp, Worrell, your top 4 right now. They are going to try to make this on only one stop. Olson, Worley, Wilson, and Marconi are going to have the stops of their lives. Fuel only for all 4 of them. Down and away, no penalties. And the question is, when are we going to see this lead group of 4 get their final money stop, last kinetic a go fast they're going to take for the night?
They can't stay out too much longer, especially when that group of McConey, Olson, Worley, and Wilson, they all just came down pit road. They all pitted at the same time, so it can't be too much longer from here. And you know what I think is funny is when those 4 pit, look who's going to be taking the lead, or should be taking the lead. I highly expect Greg McConey is going to cycle into the lead as soon as these 4 drivers come down pit road.
This is a safe bet, considering that Posey and Gottier have gone into fuel conservation mode to just try to salvage as many spots as they can. But a little bit of separation between
here they come.
Olson. Yep, there we go. But a little bit of separation between Olson and Worley. They're going to have to get that one sorted out and get those 4 of those guys back together if they're going to have any shot at holding off the charge that is the Balls Garana team. As looks like Shane Posey and Joe Gottier do have a pack with them. I believe that's both of the Pullen boys back there. Yes, it is. Working with the Nerditudes drivers. So DNA Motorsports and Nerditudes trying to make something happen as a joint venture right now. So Worrell, Lowe, Papp, and Adams down and away, no penalties for them as they have to stay low. And here comes Marconi and company with a head of steam, and they got 4 trucks strong in that pack.
Yeah, these guys are coming really quickly. They're catching these guys super fast. I don't even think it's going to be a contest. They're going to fly by Worrell, Lowe, Olson, and Ronley as they do. You see them go by right here. So this group of 4 is going to take control of the lead, led by Greg McConey. As you see, they're passing Chris Worrell right there.
Absolutely, with a almost 20-mile-an-hour difference. Worrell and Lowe still trying to get up to speed. Now, they should be able to tag on to the tail end, but the problem is it's only 2 of them. Are they going to have enough time with 13 to go to be able to catch that group? And as you and I have said numerous times together, catching them is one thing, passing them is another.
Well, especially getting down to the wire here. It's going to be a different thing. I think they're going to be okay because you got that top 4. Then you got the number 5 right there that just dropped down behind them. Then you got the 2 cars. You got Whirl and Lowe, and then a little further back you got Jason, Pap, and Marcus Adams. I think this is going to end up being one big group here by the end of this race. In fact, those guys behind the McConey-led group will probably be the guys that take to the highlight. In fact, that group's already gotten themselves together. You can see it right back here.
Now, I'm going to keep my eye on something I was warned about, but I'm going to let you maintain your focus on where you want to, but maybe. Okay. That went better than expected. Marcus Adams setting quick time, actually tying quick time of the race, 47.4 flat with Jason Papp. So that'll be shared points there if nothing else changes.
And don't look now, they're making moves early, Tony. That group had already caught the leaders, and they're looking to the outside. We're going to see 2 wide early. In fact, here comes the 49 of Olsen, going to slide up in front of them to challenge McConey coming to the line.
Now, Olsen's another one that's due. First season with the group. Doesn't have a win yet, but I believe he did qualify for the playoffs. Let me pull that up and I can give you a confirmation. Yes, he is. He's in that log jam with 0 wins back in 11th. Now, mind you, the 11th place coming into tonight was tied with Jesse Cottrell, Mark Mcfadden, Bridger Olsen, Jason Papp, Brandon Wilson, and Nick Wing. Marconi came into tonight with the most wins on the regular season with 2. So they're already 3 wide.
Yeah, well, really what happened here, Olsen kind of got in a bad spot. He got hung out to dry right there, but he's going to end up hanging up that outside group because he gets nearly into Chris Whirl. He's going to let the top 3 there, McConey, Worley, and Wilson, get a little bit of a gap, and the guys behind him are kind of just, they're hurting each other here side by side the way they are. And you got that lapped car right there. It looks like the number 10 machine. That's Zishan Dura. And, he just keeps trucking along. He's sitting in 14th and not what he's wanted to have all night, but just trucking along. And now look here, Worley's looking to the outside. They're going to leave him out to dry.
Well, this is gamesmanship here. This is Worley doing what he can to try to help one of his teammates win the race. As we've seen the Balls guys do in the last couple of races, they've done what they needed to do to get up to the win. As now Dudes Racing gets back in line to try to really take it to the Balls Garana crew on the high side. Worley leading the pack right now with 9 to go. It's Worley and Worrell in the front of this thing. Worley on the low side, Worrell on the high side. We finally saw Ryan Worley get the monkey off his back a couple races ago, driving this exact same Ford F-150 that took him to the win at Daytona with a 3-wide finish. As that's Lowe and Worrell trying to make something happen. Give the lap to Worrell as we are now 8 to go. And this is what you would expect to see inside of 10 to go. 2-wide racing, jockeying to try to figure out what you've got to do to take the air off to side draft, front draft, bump draft, slam dance for all I care. You just need to make it happen to come home with the victory here tonight.
And yeah, in order to come home with a victory, you still have to survive to the end of this race. And it doesn't matter how often you race these events. At some point, there's going to be another incident. And with 8 drivers right here this close, that one incident could take all 8 drivers out. I would be surprised for that to happen, but I have seen it before. Tony, you and I haven't been in a race like that, but I've definitely been in a race with 4 drivers for the lead, and the person who was in 5th, almost 20 seconds back, ended up being the victor. That was a Daytona race as well, so we'll see what happens right here. Coming up on lap car, looks like the number 85 in the Reese's machine. possibly be able to pick up the draft and pull down. That's Ted Poland, currently scored in the 12th place position, a couple laps down.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, that was...
wow.
Yeah, that was just uncalled for.
Let's see what happened here real quick.
But I see you have done your homework on this league, because that's exactly how we finished race 1 at Daytona here to start this season. The guy that was going into turn 3, I believe it was in 8th place, actually ended up winning the race because he survived the melee in the final turn.
That's just wild. Wow, that high lane making some really aggressive moves right there. Cost Worley that lead position. Things are a real mess right now. Something's going to happen real quick if they don't get this sorted out very quickly. Chris Worrell with a huge shove on the high side right there. And that's Chris Worrell, Greg McConey. McConey back out front. Golly, right there. That was a bad push. There it goes. McConey gets through the 49. The Reese's machine gets through the first caution zone.
That was the 6 being a dickhead. That wasn't a bad push. That kid got a push. That was not a bad push. That was him just being the southbound end of a northbound horse for the 2nd week in a row. And I don't think this one's over with yet.
Trying to get a view of it here. No, I disagree with you there. I think it just hit him in the right spot, and he got McConey loose.
Bump draft in the middle of the corner.
I agree with you on
Super Speedway Racing 101, you don't do that. Worrell's been around long enough. He knows not to do that because you're going to cause what we just had. Took out Marcus Adams, took out Brandon Wilson, took out Jason Papp. I believe Bridger Olsen caught a piece of it as well, as did Worley. So, I mean, you can't tell me that let me explain it to you like this. If that was not on purpose, there is no such thing as the Illuminati.
Well, either way, the number 6 is leading this race now. Everybody else coming out pit road.
Brandon Wilson, unable to continue, decided to take it right to the hauler. And I thank you for your concern, Zishan, but, you know, if you can't call something chicken shit racing, you can't call something anything. I would like to apologize for that outburst, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's just when you see the same drivers doing the same boneheaded moves week after week, when you know as well as I do that they know better, you know, you've got to call a pile of cow dung a pile of cow dung. Plain and simple.
Well, the only thing that I'll say is when you get the broadcaster's attention for actions, that's kind of saying something, because by nature we don't get involved with those kinds of incidents.
We try not to. We try to stay impartial.
I try to do my best to give drivers the benefit of the doubt, and obviously I haven't been here watching the show. And Tony's an easy bear to rile up, as you can tell. But he's got his
normally
own...
bite my tongue.
Well, I was going to say you have a professionalism about yourself as well. And so because of that, obviously that's why I'm saying that this has got your attention more than enough times at this point.
Absolutely, and you know the fact that there's a receipt coming, and you know, I'll be straight with you. When that receipt does get paid in full, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. And Mom, I'm sorry you had to hear that. Miss Vicky, I do apologize for going off like that. Miss Cookie, Sally, again, ladies, I apologize for using that language in your presence. I will do my best to make sure that never happens again. As the lights go out on the pace car getting ready to peel on off. Green flag in the air. Worrell gonna be leading them back to the green. He's got Joe Gottier to his outside, and a very angry Greg Marconi right there as well, pushing Gottier. Ryan Worley trying to make something happen as we are 2 to go.
So at this point right here, Tony, this is where we see the fireworks. We just had that incident happen. I figure if you're right, this is going to be pretty interesting. In fact, they're going to leave the number 6 out to dry here in the middle. Are they all going to get past him cleanly? Almost. For the most part, yes. He's got number 5 car, Mark Mcfadden, 8th place. He's a couple laps down there, but you know he's up here in this pack right here.
Top 10 run. You can't blame him for that one.
No, not at all. And you got side by side for the lead. Coming to the final lap here. Gottier, McConey, Worley, Posey all in the top 4 right there. Unfortunately, a lot of other drivers we heard from all night not going to be a part of this one.
Well, you've got Posey pushing Marconi.
Here comes 3 wide.
By Worley, and now there we go. Somebody's gonna die. Somebody's gonna die.
And it's all gonna happen in the last corner. 67 right there on the inside, bouncing back and forth on the inside. McConey has that inside line. Holy moly, this might be one heck of a finish. They're still keeping it together right here. 3 wide through the corner. Here comes Gottier trying to make a move in the Gravedigger machine. McConey, that yellow line. Will he do it again? He will. McConey, race winner as the number 99 goes flying. The 5 takes a huge hit. Coming to the line.
Well, I got to give, and I'm going to say this right now, I've got to give Nick Wing credit. He waited until after the checkered flag to make his intentions crystal clear to the 99 because he was not happy with what happened last week. But I mean, that was an amazing finish. That was, 2 teams teaming up against 2 drivers, and you kind of knew it was either going to be a dudes racing driver or a Nerditudes driver coming home with the victory, because both those teams had a chip on their shoulder after early shenanigans from the guys from Balls Garana Racing. So let me try to start finding people. So we're going to do something a little unorthodox as I went to go look for different drivers in their team chats, and what do I find but the Nerditudes guys up in the Dudes Racing chat to close this piece out. Is it safe to assume that you've now I got three of you in here, but is it safe to assume that you four gentlemen that were left in this beast were all working together?
We just knew we had some good cars. We knew there were a bunch of guys caught up in that wreck, and we figured, might as well work with whoever we can. I've worked well with Joe in the past, and Shane I've worked well with, and we made a call. I talked to Ryan and them, and we just said, if we can work with them, let's make something happen.
Well, we kind of knew that there was going to be fireworks coming into the final 10 laps of this piece. I didn't think it was going to be that kind of fireworks that we were going to see. But what were your thoughts that brought out the one and only caution we saw tonight?
I am going to keep my mouth shut.
Fair enough, and I can respect that. But, Greg just punched your ticket into the round of 8, so pressure's off your back next week going into Talladega. Your thoughts going into there?
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice having that win, being locked forward. I know I had a good points lead coming in as well, so, for me being able to do this and kind of let me go out there and race exactly as I wanted to, let me throw a few blocks I wouldn't be throwing if I was fighting for points, but no, it's good. I'm ready to go into Talladega now with a win, lock myself in, and let's work on pushing teammates in.
Absolutely. But, Greg, congratulations on your third win on the season here in the Circle B Diecast Superspeedway Series. Who do you need to thank before we let you go celebrate?
I got to thank all of our sponsors. Circle B Diecast, primary sponsor for this league. Rowdy Energy, who sponsors our Monday league. iRacing, iFlag, Butt Kicker, Midwest Motor Customs. I got to thank you guys. You guys put on a great show. I'm going to shout out the wife, the family, everybody that I know is watching. Love that everybody tunes in and can watch us come out here every Friday night and race just like we did tonight. And that's, anybody else that I might have missed, I apologize. I think I got all of our sponsors. Thank you guys. You guys have a great show. Can't wait to go back and watch it. So appreciate everything you guys do for us.
All right. Greg Marconi, congratulations. We'll see you next week at Dega.
Sounds good. And I'm just going to shout out real quick. Thank you, Sydney, the wife upstairs, and Angie, the wife watching who are watching the baby tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, boys, I'll see you. Great racing.
And we're going to move now to Joe Gottier. Joe, you got caught up in one of those fracases early and were able to catch back up to that lead pack of cars. What were your thoughts when you caught the old Spanish Archer about 45 laps into this piece?
I just knew my truck wasn't hurt too bad, thank God, because that was a pretty big hit that got me. But I knew once I got in the draft, I could hang with them.
Absolutely, but I'm going to put the question out to you too. Both you guys came in tonight after being kind of screwed last week. Let's call it like you see it, and you did what you needed to do to make sure that you got in front of the evil empire, if we shall say for now.
Yes,
they who shall not be named. But yeah, no. You guys did what you had to do. You guys worked with the Dudes Racing guys tonight. So what was it like being with that big of a group of crew in the chat again? Because I know that Nerds Racing is kind of dwindled down over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's all right. I have a problem with a lot of guys talking in the room at the same time. That's what messes me up. That's why I like with that Shane, because our other two mates, we need out and they quit, and it was a shame. Me and Shane been here for a while and we run good together. And I just want to say on air, last week I want to apologize. That was my fault. I didn't know the guy was that close when I blocked him. So I'll take all the blame on that.
Fair enough, Joe. But moving forward, we go into Talladega next week, and we cut heads at Talladega. So a real abbreviated championship round this year. Only 2 races for the round of 16. Your thoughts going into that one, trying to make it into the round of 8?
Seeing how this is my first season with them, with iRacing East, I'd really like to pull off the win. That would do excellent for me, man.
Well,
I
correct
would
me
love
if I'm
that.
wrong, but I believe your one win this season did come at Talladega in the trucks.
Yes, sir. I love Dega.
All right. Well, Joe, before we let you go celebrate the podium, who do you need to thank?
I'd like to say thank Circle B Diecast, Rowdy Energy, iRacing iFlags, Butt Kicker, Midwest Motor Customs, and especially my team, Nerditudes Racing, Dane Posey, who's an excellent partner, and Jason Papp and Greg McConey for putting on this league. And you guys up in the booth, you call it excellent race. Really appreciate it, guys.
Well, we appreciate that, Joe, and best of luck to you next week at Talladega.
All right, guys. Thank you. God bless you.
And speaking of God bless you, a man that's got Midwest Motor Customs on the hood, but Jesus in his heart, Mr. Ryan Worley coming home, rounding out the podium. Ryan, what were your thoughts going into that final restart?
Man, I was just happy to be there still after I got knocked out with Chris. I was, that wreck happened. I was like 1.7 back, so it gave me plenty of time to slow down and avoid it. But yeah, just happy to still be in it. And going in, I was thinking, am I gonna push to 6? Am I gonna, try to drag back and get my teammates up there? And it happened to work out the right way for us. So just happy with the result.
Absolutely, we saw a lot of blockage being thrown there in the closing laps, runs being cut off, and what was really going through your mind when you saw they were trying to take it 3 wide there, coming off the 4?
Yeah, whenever you see 3 wide, you hear 3 wide, you know that it's going to be tight. You got to really watch it. You got to hold your line. You can't be getting squirrely, and you're just hoping the guy behind you doesn't give you a bad push at that very instant and cause you just to flip up into the pack. But yeah, whenever you hit 3 wide, I know what I'm doing, and I know most of the guys here know what they're doing, but it's always sketchy. It's never going to not be sketchy when we go 3 wide.
Absolutely, but you're able to maintain, and much like Joe, you got your one win this season at Talladega in the trucks.
Actually, it was here at Daytona in the trucks.
Oh no, it was Daytona in the trucks. You're right. But your thoughts going into the bigger track next week?
Yeah, well, hopefully we won't end up going through the catch fence again. That was an interesting little trip. I might actually be able to vlog that one last week. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I like the track, but I feel like it does lead people to be more aggressive. They feel more complacent with the fact that it's wider, and I think it just leads people to think that they can make more out of the track. I almost feel like Daytona forces a little bit more tameness out of us. So we'll see. You saw how it got at the end of the week last week, and thankfully I wasn't really even in the race at that point, but just seeing it was kind of annoying. So hopefully we'll get that going, and nobody will go too stupid and too crazy there at the end of the race.
Well, it's Talladega. It's bound to happen.
Yeah, I know. Wishful thinking, huh?
True story. But Ryan, who do you need to thank tonight before we let you go?
I always got to thank the good Lord above, just keep me in this thing. I mean, put me in top 3 again. I mean, this is what, maybe the 5th, 6th time this year we've been in the top 3, so way better.
Let me go look.
Yeah, it's been a lot of times, but outside of that, got to thank all of our great sponsors here: Circle B Diecast, Rowdy Energy, iRacing iFlag, Butt Kicker, and Midwest Motor Customs on the car tonight with our little bit of a Halloween-themed truck. I got some blood on the car, so I don't know, maybe some blood on our hands out there tonight. But outside of that, just got to thank all of my great teammates. I got Greg working with me, Bridger and Brandon and Jason all working with me tonight just to help us get this 0-0 up into 3rd place.
Absolutely. But Ryan, again, congratulations tonight. Looking forward to seeing what you can do at Dega next week.
Awesome. Sounds good. And look forward to talking to you next week.
So, John, I know this isn't your normal forte with the Circle B Diecast Superspeedway series on a Friday night. Thank you for joining us. What were your takeaways from this race tonight?
Just super speedway racing. That's just the best way to put it. You saw guys kind of get spread out. You saw really next to no real action for 88 laps. We'll call it 88 laps of this race. Everyone just kind of drove around, tried not to kill each other. make good, clean pit stops. The ones who did make good, clean pit stops all night long were in that final group for the end that all had a chance to win it. We had a really crazy turns 3 and 4, and then my pick, Greg McConey, came home with it.
I see that. But,
I don't think I've ever gotten that right before, but I did tonight, so kudos to me. I don't know if you can do that, but...
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, pack your things, pack your belongings, kiss your loved ones goodbye, smoke them if you got them, because that's the 7th sign of the apocalypse. John was right. But moving into Talladega next week, it's definitely going to be another barn burner, as we are back in the... we're back in the ARCA car next week. I stand corrected. We are in the ARCA car next week, as... we're breaking that one out for the final time this season. And, as sketchy as the trucks can be to bump draft, the ARCA car's flirting with disaster anytime you try it. So, quick rundown of our finishing order. Greg Marconi, Joe Gottier, Ryan Worley, we already heard from those three. James Lowe, Shane Posey, Jesse Cottrell, Chris Worrell, Mark Mcfadden, Worrell being scored the last truck on the lead lap. Mark Mcfadden coming home with a top 10, coming home in 8th. Ted Pullen in 9th. Zishan Dur after pit starting, coming home in 10th. Bridger Olson, not the night he was hoping for, had to tow it back to the pits after that fracas that gave us that natural green-white checker. He comes home in 11th. Jason Papp in 12th. Marcus Adams 13th. Brandon Wilson 14th. 15th going to Brian Tarnowski. Nick Wing in 16th. Mike Pullen 17th. Shane Ward in 18th. 19th going to GT Park. Dan Stein and Ben White rounding out the field of 21 here tonight. So, again, thanks to Circle B Diecast, Rowdy Energy, iRacing, iFlag, Butt Kicker, and Midwest Motor Customs for bringing you the action tonight. Also, our good friends over at Red Cat. We will see you next week from Talladega in the trucks for Mr. Jonathan Leach up in the production truck. This is Tony Trapasso reminding you folks that as you walk down the road of life, don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.